on by. The Vac Noobs are warming up. This is a special live broadcast right here on Georgia Radio.
Welcome to Neighbor. I'm Matt Jolley. We're lucky to have this guy today. I'll tell you what, it's rare that you see somebody in media taking to television what it's lost. I think it's great. Joey Canyon joins us right now. He's a singer and a songwriter and a television producer to talk about Canyon Star TV. By the way, this is a streaming service that you can find right there on Roku, on Fire TV, Apple TV, and Google, and everything else. Did I leave one out, Joey?
I think Google and Android, and then you can even watch it on the web after you sign up.
I think that's great. Well,
good
welcome.
to meet you. Good
nice
to meet you, man.
How did you get into this? Because there's always a backstory that I find fascinating. How did this all start?
You mean how did the network come to be?
Well, how did you just find entertainment? I mean, you were obviously a singer-songwriter. Did it come from a love of music, or did it come from somewhere deeper?
Well, I guess you could say it starts with the love of music when I was very young, and then after a baseball career, I just went right into my music career that led to production business as well, learning production. And then really things started happening for me musically in the 90s. And then my first number one hit in 2011. So from there, launched my television show, and then from my television show, I went and started a television network.
I think it's great.
Thank you.
I asked Jimmy Fortune. I said, "What would you have been? Had you not been a member of the Statler Brothers?" And he didn't even miss a beat. And he said, "I probably would have been a race car driver." And I love that question, because you just never know. And he had a whole career lined up in that.
Jimmy's a great guy. I had him on my TV show, and we're friends. So he's a good man.
I'll never forget that interview question. It just struck me so funny.
Great.
I said, either way, your mother was planning on being disappointed, is what it sounds like.
Yes,
but what a career. So let's talk about Canyon Star TV, because this, and I think this is so true of so many networks, we're seeing this sort of erosion of family-friendly TV. When you sit down and you go, well, let me watch that first. I mean, I never thought I'd have to say that as a parent, but that's where we're at today. I mean,
you make a very valid point, Matt, and it really goes to how my vision and idea for Canyon Star TV came about a little over 5 years, almost 6 years ago, watching this television of no family-friendly media out there and programming, and I just was looking at it, and boy, talk about the Lord's hand on top of you here. That's when he gave me the idea to do Canyon Star TV, a family-friendly, wholesome family television network where you can put the whole family in front of the screen and not be afraid of questionable programming. So
yeah, let's talk about some of the shows that you have on there. Content from Sherry Lucas, the dog expert, Never Lose Heart with Connie Smith. Your show, which is outstanding.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much.
But talk about some of these other programs, incling Paula Dean is even on there.
Well, Paula Dean is on there. We have Billy Bob's episodes are on. We have family-friendly movies, faith-based movies that I watch them all the time on my own network. We have TV documentaries, Matt, everything from Tammy Wynette to Patsy Cline and Hank Williams, even the Beatles, even ABBA. Of course, you mentioned Animal World with Sherry, which will be cranking up her show soon with new episodes coming out. Wild America with Marty Stauffer from those old days. I used to watch them, and then a whole slew of cooking shows that follow Paula, like even Justin Wilson, and then other entertainment such as the Shotgun Red variety show.
I saw that and I thought, the flashback to my childhood, sitting there with Nana and Papa watching. Shotgun. They even had the doll. Sitting there.
Oh, they did. That's
oh,
right.
Yeah.
Shotgun Red. There you go.
Right there. There he was.
And of course, we have Penny Gilley on. She's a sweetheart on the network. We have another one called Hidden Heritage, featuring Brûlé, the band, with this group, and you want to watch that story is very, very touching. And then we have lifestyle things, Voices of Courage, Bloom, the Donna Drake Show, of course, music, and you mentioned my show, which I'm proud to have on my network. Concerts and music videos from Rhonda Vincent to the Oak Ridge Boys, and Kelly Lang on there, and T. Graham Brown, Ronnie McDowell, and then one of the other category or genre that we have that I'm very proud of is the faith genre. And boy, we have all kinds of great programming there with like Lee Benton and Dr. Trudy with the Christian View, Faith on Film. Of course, you mentioned Connie Smith and Grace, Kim Krabil. Oh, wonderful. And then, we have kids genre with all kinds of great programming for them, and the list goes on. Outdoor health and fitness, sports. Sure. I can keep going, but I know it's a short time for you.
Well, the most important thing that we can do is encourage people to watch Canyon Star TV. And the way to do that is canyonstar.tv, or you can find it on your smart television, just right there on the Roku channel too. Is that right? Right. You can. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I've gotten to where nothing really changes. It's just the way we get it. I've gotten to where I really love to watch just the Roku channel and what's streaming live on it. And to me, that's a great way to do it. There's a lot of wonderful programming out there now. Yeah, I agree. That we're proud to be a part of Roku, and we're proud. Let's just talk about Apple and Google and Amazon Fire. We're just pleased to be on there. And then if you go to Binge Networks, we're on over 300 platforms worldwide, so we're very grateful. I think that's wonderful, and the best part is this is free. We're living now in a subscription-based society where you thought the cable bill was expensive. Well, just look at what you're spending on all of these different boutique channels and things that you want to see. There's some really great content out there, but as things become sort of back to the Wild West of how. Of the media days that we're living in right now. I mean, Canyon Star is one of these where you can get great content and it's not going to break the bank. It's not something that you've got to put a line item on your family budget if you're on a fixed income. That's right. That's right. It's free. And that's the way I designed it. So I think everybody can watch it. I think that's great. Talk to me about your show. What are you excited about on the Joey Canyon Show? Because it's rare we have a network and host on at the same time. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of a monopoly, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's great. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I was going to be on, Sure. So my show, of course, originally was shot in Denver, but I have moved to Nashville almost 2 years ago. And I wanted to resume my show after I got the network started. So we are very excited about starting my show back up and being shot here in Nashville. We have a long list of people that we're going to be reaching out to that weren't on the original 2 seasons. And of course, my buddy Curtis Stone, who is my
my producer for music, is also the music director. So he'll be joining me, and we'll have some of the old band from Colorado and some of the new folks from Nashville making up the Blistered Keister band. So
that's wonderful.
It's going to be great. It really is.
Well, I'm looking forward to that. When you moved from Denver to Nashville, I lived in Colorado for a few years, and when I moved away, my wife and I always joked that it was like, where are we now? Because you get so used to having that mountain range over there that you can sort of find your way around based on where the mountains are. You know, you look over.
Well, you're speaking to me in two ways. Number one, geographically, all you have to do, you find the mountains, you know that's west.
Right.
Okay.
Then you go away from the mountains, you know, and it's so easy to find your way around out there.
But the other thing is those mountains are in my heart. I tell people, I go, you know, my heart is in Colorado, but my musical soul is in Nashville. And so I have a love for both. And where did you live in Colorado?
I lived, the only place I could find a job in the media business at the time was in Canyon City, Colorado.
Oh, sure.
And
okay.
My wife was, we had a place up in Colorado Springs. So,
great. Yeah, it was Springs is a great little town. So.
Well, and I loved my time out there in Canyon City. There was a no kidding honky tonk down there called the Broken Spoke. And one morning on the news, my buddy was reading the news off, and he said, "Oh, you're going to love this." And I said, "Oh, what happened?" And so the sheriff's wife got a little overserved that night at the Broken Spoke and may or may not have punched one of his fellow officers.
Oh, my.
And of course he had her hauled in, you know, I mean, that was the best part, but yeah, it was a fun area to live in. And you're right. Those mountains, boy, they get in your soul, and
they do.
And you stand there and you realize just how small we are.
Oh my, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
And how great it is to have somebody else in charge. And I think
there you go.
I think you said that right now that the Lord really spoke to your heart to open this. Canyon Star TV is where you want to go. It's again canyonstar.tv for the website, or you can find it there on Roku, on Android, on Google, on Fire, and on Apple TV. What do you hope happens over the next year to Canyon Star? Do you have or would you share with us your dream that you're really holding on to?
You know, Matt, we, believe it or not, Canyon Star TV has been so accepted since launching in January of this year. Kelly Kantz, my president of Canyon Star, she is literally, and I kid you not, she is literally uploading content daily. People are coming to us and telling us, hey, look, we have these shows and all, we would love to be on your network. And so as long as we keep that going, which I know we will, and then we also will acquire and license programming, which we do already, we expect to be right up there with the big boys within 2 years. If less than 2 years would be great. So we just people have an opportunity to watch whatever they want. We understand that. We're not forcing anything down their throat, but we just like people to know, that Canyon Star is family friendly, and that that with all of the choices out there to watch TV and so on and so forth, we want to be known as, that's the family one. That's the good one over there. That would just please my heart if that would happen, and we believe it will. So we just want to be recognized. We want to be one of the big ones, and just want a little piece of the pie. We're not greedy. We just want a little piece. That's all.
I think it's great. Well, listen, Joey, thanks for coming on, and I hope you'll come back.
You just have to ask me, and I'll be here.
Joey Canyon from Canyon Star TV. Thanks for being here this morning.
You bet.
Georgia Radio. Good company and great country.
Enjoying the country music.
Hi, this is Wade Peoples from Georgia Folk and Farm Life Radio. I'm here to tell you about Meeks Brothers Cattle Company. And you don't have to worry about supply chain issues or where your beef comes from. Do what I do and call Meeks Brothers Cattle Company today. You can get a whole, half, a quarter, any amount of beef you want. Good quality beef, vacuum packed, lasts up to 3 years in your freezer. It's grass-fed, grain-finished, made to order. Visit Meeks Brothers Cattle Company on Facebook today and tell them Brother Wade sent you. And that's Meeks Brothers Cattle Company. Thank you.
I know you can hear me, and so can your customers. Lots of people don't take kids seriously, but listen up. Advertising on Georgia Radio is seriously easy and affordable. Visit georgiaradio.com/advertise, or better yet, call the station. So let's talk. Your customers are listening, and so is my mom. Hi, Mom.
Matt Jolley, right here on Georgia Radio.
And welcome back here to Neighbor. Matt Jolley hanging out with you this morning. My thanks again to Joey Canyon from Canyon Star TV for coming on. If you miss any of this, you can catch it on the podcast, but I'm very, very excited right now to welcome Makenzie Phipps. She is a Virginia girl, but she's singing about all over the U.S., and I think this music's really going to resonate here on Georgia Radio, and I'm looking forward to playing it. Welcome to the show. Makenzie, thanks for being here.
Well, thank you so much for having me today. I appreciate it.
So are you 21 yet? I had to ask.
Yes, I turned 21 2 months ago.
Well, happy birthday.
Thank you.
I remember being 21. I was cutting my teeth in a Texas honky tonk. I had been, I got to go to work there, and when you work in country radio, you get all kinds of other opportunities. And I remember that night very, very well, believe it or not, because the owner of the honky tonk, his wife kept bringing up things to drink, and I didn't drink. And so all of my friends who were there celebrating my birthday, they drank very well that night.
I'm sure they did. They did.
And I drove home, and I'm thinking, well, this is welcome to 21. So anyway, I know, radio nerds, we have the worst stories. Thanks for coming on. Your new single is out, A Little of Both, and I think it's wonderful.
Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed the song, and I'm so glad with how it turned out. And, I just think a lot of people out there will be able to relate to it in their own way. I relate to it definitely in my own way. So fingers crossed the people out there relate to it.
Do you see how slow I said that? A little of both. I'm going to say it like 5 times because I keep saying a little bit of both, but it's a little of both. And
yes.
It's a great song. I would play it on the show right now, but this is going to be on a podcast. So, they got like legal rules about that. You can't.
Probably not.
You can't play it on a podcast, but I can play it right. So we're going to play it right after the show here today. And that's going to be cool. So, and then we'll keep playing
copyright, they'll get you.
Yeah, they will. And that all goes to you. So we want to make sure you're getting paid. That's the most important thing, because it's called show business, not show your friends. And we want to make sure that, that you got the money in the bank when you need it. How did you get into this? Because I love this question, but you started out, from what I read, at a very, very early age, just singing like most kids do. But there was something to your voice, unlike most of our parents who say, why don't you take up math and science? They heard something in yours.
Yes. So, when I was young, my parents, they would work a lot, and I would go over to my mama's house down in the valley, as we call it. And I'd go over there with my brother and my cousin, and we'd all just have a blast, and we'd play outside 24/7. They didn't have Wi-Fi. They didn't have anything like that. So, of course, we didn't have our heads stuck in cell phones and iPads and stuff. We just went out and we'd play in the pool, play on the trampoline. We'd watch TV shows, and I always see these posts online that I think is hilarious, because I just remember the days where you'd be watching TV and it'd be to a commercial, and you run and go get your snacks, or you run and go to the bathroom and come back before it comes back on.
Yeah.
And, we used to go to church every single Sunday. My mama was a very religious woman, and she got us into going to church every Sunday. And I'd go to Sunday school, and they teach you little church songs to sing. And I remember one was Nothing But the Blood of Jesus. And before church would start, I went over to the piano one day, and I was 4 years old. And I would go over and I played that song by ear, what it sounded like, and I'd sing it to myself. And my mama, she started to notice that, and she'd take me in her kitchen and she'd have me learn different hymns, and I would go to church each Sunday and I would sing it for them. And she was trying to get me out of my shell because I wasn't really used to singing in front of people. I didn't really like to sing in front of people, but she'd put me up there and she'd be like, "You're going to sing for the Lord." And I was like, okay.
Right. Gonna make a joyful noise, honey.
You're going to do it.
Right.
So I'd go and I would sing, and, I'd sing like the Crab Family. I'd sing some Carrie
Right.
Underwood songs. I'd sing just the hymns, traditional ones. And I would just go and sing every Sunday. And that's really what got me into singing at 4 years old. And from that point on, I started to take piano lessons when I was 10. And I attended a music school when I was 14 years old, and they kind of got you into learning how to grow your social media pages. They got you into performing out at places as well as competitions and stuff. So then I started doing my own shows when I was 14 years old, and I picked up the guitar when I was 15 and said goodbye to the piano because piano wasn't really...
It's hard to play by a campfire. I mean, it really is.
Yeah. I'm just like, here, I'm going to haul this body bag over here. And I swear it's a piano.
Right.
But I learned the guitar at 15. And ever since then, I've just been doing my shows with guitar. And here I am today.
Well, you've been featured in People. You've been American Songwriter, Cowboys and Indians, Newsmax, Country Rebel. This is like all of my favorite publications right here. When I'm not listening to Georgia radio, of course, picking out all of these other ones. I think it's really, really great what you're doing. And this is such a cool thing. You had an acoustic video of "I Want to Stroll Over Heaven with You," and it went viral. What is that like? Over 1 million views in like 2 days.
That was crazy because, the very first video I ever had go viral was when I was 18. And I had done Amazing Grace, which was actually one of my grandmother's favorite hymns. And my backup singer and guitarist, Shane Begley, was actually the one that recommended. He was like, "Why don't you do a hymn on your page? I think people would eat it up." And I was like, okay. So I did that one, and in 2 weeks, that surpassed 1 million views. But with the "I Want to Stroll Over Heaven," I do videos. I've been slacking lately, but I try to do videos every single Sunday. And we were at a loss for what video to do. And I remember my aunt down in Texas, she loves "I Want to Stroll Over Heaven." And I, at one point, was learning the song. And then I got caught up in doing something else, and I didn't get the chance to record it or learn the entire song. So I got around to it, and I was like, we're just going to do this one because I remember learning it. And why not just do another hymn today? So I recorded that one, and I remember it got to like 30,000 views. And I was like, okay, it's like steadily growing. And then like all of a sudden it just kept blowing up my phone. Right. And I texted Scott and I was like, "Hey, this video is doing really good. Just wanted to let you know." And he was like, "Okay, well, when it gets to like 250,000, let me know." And I was like, that thing is going to be over 250,000 at like this afternoon. And he was like, "What?" And it did. It went from like 30,000 to 200,000+ views in a couple of hours, like in 24 hours, I think. I don't even know. It was crazy. And then it just kept growing and growing and growing. And then it reached 1.6 million views. And I was just like, this is insane.
It is, but it's the Wild West right now. And that's what I love about this time period that we're living in with media. You could put a hit on the radio 50 years ago and you'd never have this kind of reach. I mean, you just never would. And so everybody talks about how media is changing, but really one of the most incredible parts of this is the ability for an artist to record a video and then good music is good music, right? So it just grows like that. I think it's fantastic and I'm excited for you.
Well, thank you.
I really am. And I just hope you run big with it. I was listening to your voice and we fall into these pitfalls when we listen to other artists. And we're always like, wow, it sounds like this or it sounds like that. I heard so much of so many people in you. And it all sort of comes together like fibers on a rope. And then there's this huge, powerful voice at the end of it. I just see big things for you, Makenzie. I mean, truly, truly big things for you. From what it's worth, from some guy in Podunk, Georgia, to tell you that. You've really got it. It's good stuff. Wonderful.
Well, thank you.
Where do you want to be in a few years? You want to be on a bus touring around the country, wishing you were home?
People ask me that question all the time. They're like, where do you see yourself in like 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? And I always tell people the exact same thing. And people probably think I'm crazy. But, I always tell them, if I made it big one day, like becoming a household name, living the dream, etc., I'd be fine with that. Or if I was just having a sustainable income and just a job that I love doing, and I'm able to just do that and be able to make a healthy living and so forth, and I'm fine with that too. So it's honestly in the good Lord's hands as to wherever he wants me to be.
Well, I think you can do whatever you want to do in this business. You certainly have the chops for it. You've got the skills for it. And people are starting to find out about it. Makenzie Phipps is the website, too, MakenziePhipps.com. We'll quick link that in the show story and make sure that that's all available out there for everybody as well. I've got to ask you, though, when you're writing a song, when you sit down and you go in there to write a song, do you have a pattern that it takes, or do you hear it and then you just stop everything you're doing and you go sit down and write? What's your go-to method for that?
Honestly, it just hits me. Like I'll be driving down the road or I'll be sitting there on the couch or anything, and it'll just all come to me and I just write it down.
Pull over and write it down. Like, gotta hurry up, get this down on the notebook. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the way to do it, I guess. That's what I always hear. You always hear that. And I think.
Yeah, because, it's difficult for me to sit down and just be like, all right, I'm going to write a song. And then it's just like, nope, it ain't coming. It ain't happening.
Not today.
It'll come to me when it wants to.
But that takes the stress out of it, doesn't it? I mean, if you look at it that way, and you think like what Hank Williams used to say, God writes it, I just move the pen, then there you go, right? It makes it easy that way. Well, good for you, young lady, and I wish you all of the best. I wanted to ask you about, walking into Gordon Mote's home before you go, because I saw this on your social media feed, and I thought, wow, what an experience that must have been like, to just walk in, stand by the piano. Was that the first time you went through the song together?
Yes. Oh my gosh. That man, he gave me a heart attack. So, how I met Gordon was I went to Nashville last year in studio with Sal Oliveri to do my 6 songs that I'm releasing here sporadically. And he was the one that played on all of them, and he was my pianist, and that's how I met him. And
smokes.
Gordon is just like, he's just one of a kind. He truly is, because he's one of the most humble individuals I have ever met. I did this video, just putting it on my socials, just talking about, do you want to see what it looks like to be in a Nashville recording studio and like what all is involved and all the different elements. So I went around the studio and I had each of the musicians introduce themselves, give a little bit of background information, any kind of important things that have occurred in their career and so forth and what they play. And, all of them were talking about all these great things. They were like, oh, well, I play bass and, I'm actually on tour with Reba. And then they're like, oh, well, I played the drums and, I've played for, Brooks and Dunn and ZZ Top and all of them. And I got to Gordon and I was like, yeah, so if you just want to give a little rundown of the stuff you've been doing, that'd be great, or whatever you want to say. And he played the piano, like a little tag in the beginning. He was like, hello, I'm Gordon Mote. I play piano. And he was just like, today I'm just very excited to be in studio with this lovely young lady, and we're just having a great time. And, he didn't even talk about.
Yeah, didn't mention the Dove, didn't mention the hit. Right.
No, he didn't say anything about him. And I was like, this man has done so many things. Yeah, he has played for so many people, and he's just such a sweet, kind individual, and he's just so humble. And I just think everybody in the world needs a Gordon Mote in their life. And I'm very fortunate to be able to call him a friend. And, how it all turned out with me and him doing that video, it was just by the grace of God, because, I was going down to Tennessee and I was going down there for a business trip, and my aunt, she loved Gordon. Like when I told her I was in the studio with him.
Now, is this the one in
like,
Texas? I'm just trying to. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So Texas aunt says, love Gordon most.
She was like, oh my gosh, you're in studio with Gordon Moe. And I was like, I told you to come down here. And she actually did get the chance to meet him when I went in studio the second time. I brought her down. And that just made her entire life, just getting to meet him. And great. She had told me, she's like, you're going down to Tennessee. You should ask if Gordon would want to do a song with you, because I was going to do his song, Mercy Walked In. Right. And what the music is through, my mom was worried that we were going to have copyright issues, because I've had copyright issues in the past with songs that are through different like companies. Right. And she was like, I just have a feeling if you do that, then they're going to take it down. So I never got around to doing it. And my aunt was like, well, why don't you just have Gordon do it with you? Because they can't take it down because it's his song. And I was like, girl, he ain't going to answer me. He's got a life. I was like, right. He's got
just
a life.
Just have him do it with you.
Yes, he's got all this stuff going on. Right. And she's like, well, you won't know until you ask. And I was like, that's true. So I texted Sal and I was like, hey, I was wondering if you could pass this information along to Gordon, see if he'd be interested in just recording a simple video of his song, Mercy Walks In with me. And of course, he passed it along and he was like, if I don't hear anything back in a couple of days, just take that as a Southern no thank you. And I was like, right. So he sent it and a couple of days that went by and I was like, when does he usually respond to you? And he's like, he'll respond to me in about a day or so, usually. And, a couple of days that went by and I hadn't heard anything. So I texted him back and I was like, so I'm taking it. It's a polite no thank you. And he was like, no, I never did hear anything from him. So I guess so. And I was like, oh, it's okay. Well, I appreciate you for sending it to him. And like a couple of days later, I got a call from Sal and I was like, that's weird. So I got it and he was like, get this. We were in studio and I was in studio with Gordon just now. And we were just sitting and talking and catching up. And all of a sudden Gordon just goes, so whatever happened to that thing with Makenzie? And Sal was taken back because he was like, well, you never sent me anything. So I just assumed you were either busy or just you weren't really interested. And Gordon was like, oh my gosh, I was on that cruise and my messages weren't sending. And he was like, I was going to tell you to tell her that if I'm available, that I'll do it. So he sent me over Gordon's contact info. I texted him. We got a date sorted out. I was texting him. I was like, how do you want to do the song? Like, do you want to sing a verse? You want me to sing a verse? You want to sing? Like, what do you want to do? And he was like, we'll just figure it out when you get here. And like, I am a huge like, I'm just right. Sir, I need to know what I'm doing. I was like, I don't want to mess up this song. So I was like, I'm going to have to change the key to this song. And I don't want him to like be mad that I'm like changing his song. It's his song. And I was so stressed out. And we got to his house and he's just like, come on in and all this stuff. And we go over to the piano and he was like, so how do you want to do the song? And I was like, well, I found a key that I really like and it's in A. And the original key, I believe, is an E, or maybe vice versa. I can't even remember. It's been so long. And I just remember him being like, well, that's a little too high for me. So I'm just going to transition it to your key and I'm going to do my key. And I'm just like, I don't know how you're going to do that, but okay.
Yeah, whatever works for you. That's why you're singing with professionals.
I just was in there and like, we did not go through a test run. We did not do anything at all. And like, I had been stressing myself out to wit's end with the song because it's got the old traditional, like gospel hymns. Right. And I'm not used to that at all. So like I was in my car with Shane and I was like, you have got to tell me if I'm singing this right. Cause I don't think I'm singing it right. And I'm getting all stressed out because I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy's going to think I'm like an idiot or something.
But it all worked out. I mean, it was the magic happened and it's all like there.
My mom, she went and propped up the phone and he was like, just hit record and we're going to do it. And I was like, we have not gone over this song. I have no clue what it's going to sound like when you transition that key. I don't know how my harmony is going to sound. Like I was stressed.
Well, it worked
and
out.
he's like, we're just going to do it.
Yeah.
And then we did it. And I was like, that was by the grace of God that directed me. Because anytime I do my videos, like they can either be a one take and done deal, or I can do them like 30 plus times.
Well, it worked out. And the beautiful thing is it's there for everyone to see. And you can go follow Makenzie Phipps on her Facebook page or on Instagram, or I'm sure you've got, TikTok and all the other stuff there. So just go to your website. I'm guessing that's the easiest thing. And then it all just blows up from there. The single, A Little of Both, is going to be out here and on this station on Georgia Radio right after this show runs live. And then if you don't hear it live, if you're listening to Neighbor to Neighbor on the podcast, which I hope you do, you can hear it right there on her website. Just click the quick link to her website, which is saved in this story, and it'll be on. Makenzie, thanks for coming on today. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you so much.
It's been such a pleasure for having you.
Yes, well, thank you for just listening to me yap my mouth.
No, I love it. I hope you come back.
I really appreciate you having me.
Yeah, well, will
today.
you come on when you're playing down here in Georgia so we can all get the up close and personal full experience when you're playing down here live?
Yes, that would be absolutely great. And I hope in the future I get to meet you one day.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Makenzie Phipps, my thanks to you, and my thanks again to Mr. Canyon for coming on. You can catch Joey Canyon and his show on Canyon Star TV. And just thank you both for coming on here. We'll talk to you next week. So long for now, everybody.
Georgia Radio. Good company and great country.
Enjoying the country music.
When you download the Kroger app, you have easy access to savings every day. Shop weekly sales and get personalized coupons to get the most value out of every trip, every time, whether you shop in-store or online. Download the Kroger app now to save big. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Must have a digital account to redeem offers. Restrictions may apply. See site for details.
Save big on your favorites with the Buy 5 or More, Save $1 each sale. Simply buy 5 or more participating items and save $1 each with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.